All right, so in this video, we're going to go ahead and create a simple fitness app. Right here at the top on this screen, we're going to go ahead and have the ability to enter the day's calories. Then we move on down and we can go ahead and select the type of workout we did, such as lifting weights, running, golf, soccer, hiking, or playing football. Once we're happy with the result, then we can go ahead and submit that value. Once submitted, we can go ahead and view the value here on this screen where we have an outputted list of each value day. Inside of each value, we go ahead and we can have the date and, of course, the ending calorie result. Awesome. If we want to remove these results, then we can go ahead and just tap them on the screen. Apart from that, we have local save capabilities. So if we close this app and come back, it should still have a value in there. Awesome. Let's go ahead and jump right in. All right. Make sure your Android emulator is up and running, just like mine here. Perfect. All right. Let's go ahead and open up a terminal. New terminal. Awesome. Let's go ahead and create the project. So we're going to do npx space create dash expo dash app, and then we will give it a name. I'm going to call mine fitness app. Awesome. Let's go ahead and hit enter. Let's let that load. Might take a second. I'm going to pause the video while it loads. All right. Looks like it finished up. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and open up this folder here. All right, make sure everything's in there. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and cd into that folder. So before we do that, in the terminal, I'm going to type in clear just to clear what we got. Awesome. Now I'm going to go ahead, cd space, and then I'm going to drag and drop the main folder right there. Hit enter. Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and open up that app.js. Perfect. So we're going to add a thing underneath there on line 4. I'm going to go ahead and paste it. This is going to be a command we're going to run so we can go ahead and use the right package so we can use local storage. It's going to be npm space install space at react dash native dash async dash storage slash async storage. Awesome. So again, this just gives us the ability to use async storage, which is basically just local storage. Awesome. Let's go ahead and copy that all down. Control C. I'm going to paste that right inside our terminal. Go ahead, hit enter. Let that load. Awesome. So far, so good. All right, I'm going to go ahead and clear again the terminal. All right, let's go ahead and run this app now just to make sure everything's working. So we're going to do npx expo start. Go ahead, hit enter. Awesome. Let's go ahead now and hit A to run it on Android. Open up your Android app. Might take a second to load if it's the first time. Awesome. Looks like our app's working. We are all set up now. Alrighty, I will see you in the next video. Alright, so in this video, we're going to go ahead and add all of the imports for our fitness app. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Make sure your Android app is up and running and connected just like this. Perfect. Awesome. So let's go ahead and add some imports. So currently we already have the style sheet, text, view, and status bar. We're going to add a couple more to this one. So let's go ahead and add a comma after view. Awesome. We're going to go ahead and add the pressable one. Go ahead, do a comma after that. We're also going to go ahead and add the text input, capital T. So go ahead, find that one. Perfect. Comma. We're also going to go ahead and we're going to use the scroll view as well. Add that one there. Awesome. Do another comma. And then the last one we're going to do is going to be for dimensions, ending with an S. Just like that. Perfect. Go ahead and save that. Control S. Should reformat it for you if you have the prettier extension. Awesome. All right, so underneath that one, we're going to go ahead and add another one. This one, we're going to do an import again, curly brackets. Now inside these curly brackets, we're going to do the use state. All right. That should say from and then react. Go ahead and get rid of that little curly bracket if it added it. Awesome. Should look just like that. We're also going to go ahead and add another one inside of here. This is going to be for the use effect. Let's go ahead and add that as well. Awesome. All right, so below that, we're going to add another import. This one is going to be for the async storage that we downloaded earlier. So go ahead, capital A, async storage, and that should be from at React Native async storage / async storage. Awesome, just where we downloaded it from. All right, perfect. The last one, we're going to go ahead and do another import as well. This one's going to be for the ionics, which is going to be the little symbols we're going to use. So it's be ion, icons, just like that. Then we're going to go ahead and do a from, some quotes. We're going to do at expo / and then we should find vector icons. There we go. / and then we're going to find ionicons. Perfect. All right, go ahead and save that. Awesome. All right, so far so good. Now we're going to add a couple different variables that we're going to be using though. So right underneath the export default function app, still inside that curly bracket, we're going to go ahead and add a couple things. So I'm going to go ahead and make some room, scroll on down. Awesome. First, I'm going to add a constant. Go ahead, give it some regular brackets. Inside those regular brackets, I'm going to go ahead and give it the word calories, comma, and I'm going to do set capital C calories. Awesome, just like that. Then we're going to go ahead, do an equal, and we're going to do use state, and then give it some parentheses. Inside those parentheses, we're going to go ahead and give it some empty quotes, just like that. End it with a semicolon. Awesome. All right, next up, we're going to go ahead, do another constant, give it some regular brackets. Inside those brackets, we're going to do get capital V value, comma. Then we're going to go ahead and do a set capital V value. Awesome. Go ahead, equal that to use state as well. Then inside this use state, we're going to give it some parentheses and we're going to set it to 0 inside of it, just like that. Awesome. All right, we're going to go ahead and add another constant now. Again, give it some regular brackets. Inside of here, we're going to do notes, comma. Then we're going to go ahead and do set capital N notes. Awesome. Then we're going to go ahead, equal, and we're going to do use state. Then we're going to go ahead, give it some parentheses, and then regular brackets, just like that. Awesome. This is going to be our array that we're setting all of our days into these notes. Awesome. So we're going to do a semicolon. Perfect. All right. So below that, we're going to add two more, another constant. This one, we're going to go ahead, give it some brackets. I'm going to put the word open, comma. Then we're going to go ahead and do set capital O open. Awesome. Go ahead, equal that. Then we're going to go ahead, equal to use state as well. Awesome. Inside its parentheses, we're going to set it by default to false. Awesome. And this is going to be for setting the open and close of where we enter our values. Awesome. Go ahead. Let's go ahead and add another one, another constant. This will be the last one. Inside of here, though, we're going to go ahead and do loading. All right. Comma. And then we're going to go ahead and do set capital L loading. Just like that. We're going to go ahead, equal it to use state. Inside some parentheses, we're going to go ahead and set it to true. All right, so far so good. This is going to be what we're using to reload everything into the app when we open and close it. Awesome. End it with a semicolon. Control S to save. Alrighty. That's it. Shouldn't have any errors so far. Looks good. All right, I will see you in the next video. All right, so in this video, we're going to go ahead and start creating some of the functions for our app. Let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, make sure you are connected to your Android device, just like I am right here. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and add some functions now. So right underneath our current constants that we have, we're going to add some spaces. All right, so first function we're going to create is going to be for the get data. So let's go ahead and add a constant here. Let's go ahead and call it get capital D data. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to equal that to async. Then we're going to go ahead and give it some parentheses. We're going to do an equal less than. Open it up with some curly brackets. Awesome. All right, inside of here, we're going to go ahead and give it a try. Give that some curly brackets. Inside this try, we're going to add a couple things. First, it's going to be a constant. and I'm going to call this JSON value, capital V. Then we're going to go ahead, we're going to do an equal await. Then we're going to do async storage. We're going to do a dot, and then we're going to do get item. Awesome. Inside of here, we're going to pass some parentheses, double quotes, and then we're going to give it the key value of the items that we're going to be getting. And I'm going to call this just day, capital V, value. Awesome. Just like that. Perfect. Semicolon at the end. All right, next value inside of that try, we're going to go ahead and give it another constant. This constant, I'm going to give it a name of JSON value 2. We're going to go ahead and equal that to capital JSON. There we go. Then we're going to do dot parse. Then inside of here, we're going to have the JSON value. Awesome. So we're basically getting the value and then turning it into a JSON document. Awesome. All right, semicolon. Then we're going to go ahead and give it an if statement. We're going to go ahead, do JSON value 2. Does not, so exclamation point, equal, null. Then we're going to go ahead, open it up with some curly brackets. Awesome. I'm going to scroll on down here. All right, inside this if statement, now we're going to go ahead and do set notes. And then within some parentheses, we're going to go ahead and pass the JSON 2. Awesome. Just like that. Perfect. All right, so now below this try, closing bracket right here, we're going to go ahead and add a catch. Awesome. And then in some parentheses, I'm going to put E for the error. Then we're going to go ahead, pass in some curly brackets, open that up. I'm going to send an alert, and within parentheses, put that E. Awesome. Then at the last part right here, I'm going to go ahead and put the word finally. Then we're going to go ahead and open that up. We're going to set loading. I'm going to set loading to false, semicolon. And then we're also going to go ahead and we're going to do a console log. Dot log, there we go. Parentheses. Inside the parentheses, we're just going to put the notes so we can output what we loaded. Awesome. So again, we're doing a try. Inside this try, we're going ahead and equaling JSON value to our async storage ID of day value. All right. Then we're coming back, grabbing it, pulling it from a JSON document by using the parse. Then we're going to go ahead, and if it doesn't equal anything but nothing, then we're going to equal it to our notes. Awesome. And then last, catch if there's an error, and of course, output it if we have some data, and set loading to false. All right. So far, so good. Make sure you got that down. All right. Now let's go ahead and create the set data, where we actually send the data to that key. All right. So we're going to go ahead, create a constant. I'm going to go ahead and do store, capital D data for the name. Awesome. Equal async. Then we're going to go ahead, give it some parentheses, equal less than, curly brackets, open it up. Awesome. I'm going to scroll on down here. All right. So inside of here, we're going to add a couple things. First, we're going to start off if, parentheses, exclamation point. So if loading is false, of course. We don't want this to work. So we're going to go ahead and put that there. Then we're inside of here, we're going to add a try. Open the try up. Awesome. Inside this try, we're going to go ahead and do a constant. Give it a name of JSON value equal await, because it doesn't get the data instantly. Sometimes we've got to give it some time. Async storage dot set item. Open it up. Inside of here, we're going to go ahead. We're going to set double quotes of day value, because that's our key name. Awesome. Then we're going to go ahead and add a comma. And then in here, we're going to do JSON capitals dot stringify. And then, of course, pass in our array, which is going to be notes. Awesome. All right, so far so good. There we go. Then put a semicolon here. Below that, we're going to go ahead and return JSON value, semicolon. Awesome. Then the last part down here, we're going to do a catch. Again, give it E for error. Give it some curly brackets. Inside of here, we're going to go ahead and do an alert. And then give it that value of E. Awesome. All right. So this is basically storing our data when we activate it. All right. If it's not loading, then we're going to go ahead and use this try catch. Inside our try, we're going to go ahead and set our value to that key of day value of JSON.stringify notes, which is our array. And then, of course, return error if it's an error. Awesome. All right. So far, so good. Let's go ahead and scroll down. So underneath this function right here, still above the return, we're going to go ahead and use the use effect now, because we're going to have to check, of course, if it's loading and then also when the data is updated. So we're going to use a use effect twice. So we're going to use use effect here. We're going to go ahead, give it some parentheses inside of it, do an equal sign, less than symbol. Go ahead, open it up with some curly brackets. All right, perfect. So in this use effect, I'm just going to go ahead and set get data, or not get value, get data. Perfect. Parentheses, semicolon, because when the app first starts, of course, we want to get all the data. That's why this is right here. All right, and then of course we have to give it whatever values it's using, and of course it's using none, so we can go ahead and put a comma and then an empty array. Awesome. All right, go ahead, make sure you got that there. We're going to go ahead and do another use effect now below it. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this use effect below it, paste it just like that. Perfect. Awesome. This one's going to be a little different. Inside of it, of course, we're not going to get the data twice. We're going to go ahead and we're going to store data. All right, so go ahead, find that, store data, parenthesis, semicolon. All right, and then we are using values in here because every time this value changes, we want this to happen, okay? So in here, we're just simply going to put notes. So every time our notes update, we're going to go ahead and initiate the stored data. Awesome. All right, so far so good. Let's go ahead and save everything we got. All right, looking good. That's it for this video. I will see you in the next one. All right, so in this video, we're going to go ahead and continue creating the rest of the functions for our app. Let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, make sure you are connected to your Android device, just like I am right here. Perfect. Let's go ahead and get started. So right underneath the use effect right here, we're going to go ahead and add a couple things. We're going to go ahead and add a new function. This function is going to be a constant. We're going to go ahead and give it the name handle add task. Perfect. Go ahead, give it an equal sign, empty parentheses, equal, less than, and then open it up. Perfect. All right, so in this function, we're going to give it a couple things. First, we're going to create a new constant in here. We're going to do constant and call this new note. Awesome, just like that. And we're going to equal it and pass in some values with some curly brackets on the outside. Inside of here, we're going to, of course, set the ID. And the ID, we're going to make just date dot now, lowercase, empty parentheses, just like that. Awesome. We're going to do a comma, not a semicolon after it. All right, now we're going to add another one. This one, we are just going to use the get value. Awesome. Perfect. Comma. Then below that, we're going to go ahead and do date. And we're going to get the date by doing capital D, date, empty parentheses, dot on the outside. And we're going to do a to local string, just like that, empty parentheses. All right, looking good so far. Go ahead, put a comma at the end of that. Awesome. All right, so outside those curly brackets of that constant we just created, we're also going to go ahead and do a set notes, give it some parentheses. Inside the parentheses, we're going to go ahead and give it some regular brackets. Inside those brackets, we're going to do 3 periods, just like that. Then we're going to go ahead and do notes, because we're grabbing the current array, and then we're going to do a comma, and then we're going to add the new note that we created. Awesome. So all those 3 periods are doing is just giving us the indication that we're going to go ahead and add this value at the end of that array. Awesome. Right below that, we're going to go ahead and do set calories, because once we've gathered the calories, we are going to go ahead and reset the value. So we'll give it some parentheses and then some empty quotes, just like that. Awesome. All right, below that, we're going to go ahead and add a function name of close show data input that we are going to create later. This is basically just going to show that or get rid of that input box that we had earlier. Awesome. All right, so that's it for this function. Make sure you have everything down for that. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. All right, so the next one is going to be for the submit values. Let's go ahead and add that. So I'm going to go ahead and do another constant. We're going to give it a name of submit, capital V values. Go ahead, equal, parentheses. Then we're going to do a equal less than curly brackets. Awesome. All right, inside this function, we're going to go ahead and do set values, or value. And then we're going to go ahead, give it some parentheses. We're going to use the parse float because we need to transfer this digit into a float. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Then inside of there, we're going to get some parentheses again, and we're going to do the get value because that's, of course, the value we're setting. Then we're going to go ahead and add the, again, parse float. And then inside the parentheses, calories. Awesome. All right, make sure you got that there. Awesome. So that's going to add any values we have to our current value of get value, which is our value that we're setting into the new note. Awesome. All right, let's keep going. So right under there, we're also going to go ahead and set calories back to an empty string. Awesome. Make sure you got that there. Perfect. End it with a semicolon. You can also end this one up here as well. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. All right, so the next one we're going to do, this one's going to be for the add weight workout. So I'm going to do a constant. I'm going to do add weight workout. Just like that. We're going to do an equal sign, parentheses, equal less than, curly brackets, open that up. Awesome. We're going to go ahead and set value, parentheses, and then we're going to go ahead in these parentheses where, again, we're going to do that parse float, give those some parentheses as well. Then we're going to go ahead, do the get value, and then we are going to do a minus 200. Awesome. We're going to make one more of these. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this whole function right here. I'm going to paste it right below, and I'm just going to go ahead and change the name. Instead of weight, I'm going to go ahead and do this for run. Awesome. And then I'm going to maybe change this 200 to something like 250. Awesome. And you can do these for all the different workouts if you want. You just have to create a function for each one. Now, I'm only going to do these two and just reuse them, but if you want to use one for all 6 different workout types and you want to make a function for each one, you can do that as well. You can either, leave the values the same, or you can change them to a custom one that you want to do. Awesome. But for now, I'm just going to have 2 only. All right. Let's move on down, though. So for the next one, we're going to go ahead, and this one's going to be for the show data input. So let's go ahead and create a constant. I'm going to give it the name of show data input. Oop, not the closed one that we created. This one's going to be just for show. We'll do the other one next. Awesome. So just like that. Then we're going to go ahead, equal sign, parentheses, equal less than, curly brackets, open it up. Awesome. In here, simply what we're going to do is we're going to set open. We're going to set open to true. Awesome. Because we want to show the data input. All right, perfect. Now we're going to go ahead and do the close one. So let's go ahead and move on down. Constant again. This one's going to be for the close show data input. Equal sign, empty parentheses, equal, less than, open up the curly brackets. Awesome. All right, so in here, though, we're going to set a couple different things. The first one, of course, we are going to do set open again. And this time, we are going to set this to false. Awesome. Semicolon. Below that, we're also going to go ahead and set calories to empty as well. So 2 empty quotes. And then the last one we need to do as well is the set value. I'm going to reset it. So we're going to go ahead and set that to 0. Awesome. All right. So far, so good. Looking good. All right. Go ahead and make sure you got that down. Now we're going to add one more function. So I'm going to make a couple room here. Scroll down. All right. I'm going to do a constant. And this one's going to be for the remove day called value. Remove day value. Then we're going to go ahead, do an equal sign, give it some parentheses. This time, though, because we are specifying which one we're removing, I'm going to go ahead and pass in. So I'm going to do note, because we're passing in which note or which day, whatever you want to call it. So then we're going to do equal, less than, open up the curly brackets. Awesome. Now a couple things we're going to add in here. First one is going to be another constant. This constant I'm going to name update, remove, note. We're going to go ahead and equal that to the notes with an S dot. I'm going to do the filter function. There we go, filter. And we're going to go ahead, give it some parentheses and then some inner parentheses because we're going to be filtering out a specific item. We're going to do filter, and I'm going to call that search of item. And then we're going to do an equal, less than. We're going to be searching for that item of the item.id. And then we are going to go ahead and do a if it does not equal. Then we're going to do note.id. Awesome. So all this is doing is just filtering through our notes and finding the specific one with the ID. Awesome, because if you remember, if we scroll back up, we are creating each note with a specific ID. So that's how we can indicate which one's which. Awesome. Let's go ahead and scroll back down. All right, let's keep going. We're going to add a console. A console.log for this. We're going to go ahead and do the update, remove note. Awesome. Then we're going to go ahead, end it with a semicolon, off to the next line. This time we're going to add set notes. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to pass in a value this time. And I'm going to pass in the updated remove note. Awesome, because we're going to be passing in which one we want to remove. All right, or which one we removed from the notes. So we'll be passing in basically the new values of the one without the removed notes. Okay, perfect. All right, make sure you got that down. Perfect. Go ahead and save that, Control S. Awesome, we made a couple functions, so make sure each one looks correct. Scroll back up for you. Awesome. All right, that's it for this video. I will see you in the next one. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this video and serious about becoming a developer, you should totally consider joining Red Fools Academy. Once you sign up, you will get full access to all of our premium courses, support from myself and the Red Fools Studio team. Our courses include full stack website development, app development, game development, and many more to come. On your first sign up, you get a free 7 days to try it all out. A link will be added to the description, or you can go to the official website at redfoolstudio.com. See you in the lectures. All right, so in this video, we're going to create our list screen for our app. Let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, make sure you are connected to your Android device, just like I am here. Perfect. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So we're going to scroll on down to our return right over here. So we're going to add a couple things in here. The first thing we're going to go ahead and do is actually get rid of everything inside of it, or actually just get rid of the text right here. We can keep the status bar and the view. We are, though, going to change this container word right here. We're going to use it later, but for this one, I want to change it to far back view. All right, awesome. All right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add another view inside of here. So let's go ahead and add a view. Close it, open it up. In this opening view, I'm going to give it a style as well. Let's go ahead and do an equal, curly brackets. In here, though, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to call this header container. Awesome. All right, so inside of our header container view, we're also going to go ahead and give it a text. So let's go ahead, add that. All right, inside this text, we're going to give it some words. I'm simply going to put the word of our title, which is going to be fitness app. Awesome. Inside the text, though, we're going to go ahead and give this a style as well. Equal, curly brackets. All right, so in here, I'm just going to call this header, capital T text. Awesome. Go ahead, Control S so it reformats. All right, looking good. All right, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead outside of that view there. We're going to go ahead and add a container view. Or a view, and we're going to give it the style of container that we got rid of. All right, so in this view, of course, give it that style. Equal, curly brackets, styles with an S. There it is. Dot, and I'm going to give that one the container one. Awesome. All right, so now inside this container, we're going to add some things. All right, the first thing we're going to add is going to be a pressable. So let's go ahead and add a pressable. Close it, open it up. Inside this pressable, we are also going to give it a text as well. Perfect. Close that. All right, in the opening tag of that pressable we just made, we're going to go ahead first off and give it a style. I'm going to go ahead, equal that, curly brackets, styles with an S. All right, looking good. I'm going to do this dot, and I'm going to call this basic button. Okay, perfect. Actually, we'll call it basic buttons because we're going to use it multiple times. All right, we're also going to go ahead, still within the opening tag, we're going to give it a on press. All right, that on press is going to use the function show data input because when we press this button, we want that to pop up. Awesome. Inside the text, we're going to go ahead and add some. I'm simply just going to put add new day. Awesome. In the opening tag of that text, we're going to give it a style as well. Equal curly brackets, styles with an S, dot. And I'm going to go ahead and just name this, I'm just going to call this submit text. Awesome. All right, looking good. Perfect. Let's go ahead and keep moving. So the next one we're going to go ahead and add is going to be the scroll view. So still inside that container, we're going to go ahead right underneath the pressable. I'm going to add the scroll view. All right, go ahead, open that up. All right, a couple things we're going to add inside that scroll view opening tag. First one we're going to add is, of course, the style. Oop. Wherever it is. There we go. Style equal curly brackets. I'm going to go ahead and call this just scroll, and then I'm going to call it view style, just like that. Awesome. All right, that's actually all we're going to put inside that opening tag. But then below it, we're going to go ahead and pass in a function. So in this function, we're going to go ahead and do notes dot map. And this map is what's going to go ahead and output all of our different basically data and days that we're using and put it in a scrollable way. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, give it some parentheses, and then parentheses within those, notes in that one there. Awesome. Then we're going to go ahead outside the first set of parentheses, do an equal, a less than. We're going to go ahead, we're going to pass some more parentheses. We're going to open up those parentheses. Awesome. So inside those inner parentheses over there, we're going to go ahead and we're actually going to add a pressable. So let's go ahead, add a pressable. I'm going to go ahead and close this pressable as well, just like that. We're going to add a couple things inside this pressable. Before we do that though, let's go ahead inside the opening tag of the pressable. We're going to add a style first, equal curly brackets. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to set this one to data value. Awesome. Looking good. Still within the opening tag, we're also going to go ahead and I'm going to add a key. To make an item in a map, we need to have a key value. And if you remember, we can use that ID that we made with the items. So I'm going to go ahead and pass that in. You have to use the back quote button. It's also the one with the little squiggly as well. Oop. So go ahead. It's not the regular quotes. This is a like backslash quote. I don't remember the official name, but this allows us to pass in values. So we go ahead and do that. Then we go ahead and do the dollar symbol, and then we give it some curly brackets. Inside of there, we can go ahead now and pass in our note.id. Awesome. Looking good so far. All right. Now, don't forget, though, to put your curly brackets around this whole thing. That's why I'm getting this little red. I'm going to go ahead to the end of that one. There we go. Awesome. All right. So far, so good. Then, apart from that, we're also going to go ahead and add an on press. Inside that on press, we're going to go ahead and pass in some empty parentheses. We're going to go ahead, do an equal, less than, and then we're going to go ahead and do that remove day value. Awesome. Go ahead, pass in some parentheses, and then of course we have to give it the note that we're removing. So just like that. Awesome. Looking good so far. Make sure you got all that down. I'm going to Control S to reformat. There we go. A little easier to read. All right, so make sure you get that down. All right. So still inside of the pressable, I'm going to go ahead and add an opening for it. We're going to go ahead now and add a view. I'm going to go ahead, close that view, open it up. Awesome. Inside that opening tag of that view, inside the pressable, I'm going to give it a style equal curly brackets. And I'm going to go ahead and make this styles with an S. Dot. And I'm going to give this one a name of final calc value. Awesome. All right, make sure you got that in there. Inside this view, I'm going to go ahead and pass in a text as well. Let's go ahead and pass that in, text. Inside this text, I'm going to go ahead and just put calories of the day. Awesome. Let's give a style to that opening tag of that as well. I'm going to add a style there, equal, curly brackets. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add styles with an S, dot, and I'm going to call this one, let's call it final cow text. Just like that. Awesome. So far, so good. All right, now, still inside the pressable, we're also going to go ahead underneath that view, and we're going to add two more text. So let's go ahead and add those. Text. Inside this text, I'm going to go ahead and just back it up so it looks a little better. I'm going to go ahead and pass in the brackets, and then we're going to go ahead inside of there. I'm going to use the note dot date. Awesome. Inside the opening tag, I'm also going to go ahead, give it a style. Let's go ahead, equal, curly brackets, styles with an S, dot, and I'm going to call this one, let's call it date text, capital T. Awesome. Let's go ahead and copy this whole text here. I'm going to go ahead, enter, paste that there. All right. Next thing I'm going to change is just, of course, the type of style, because this is going to be a different one. I'm going to call this cow, capital T, text. Awesome. And then, of course, we need to change it to the value of the date, or the data, which is the calorie data. I'm going to go ahead and change that to get value. Awesome, because that will output the value. Perfect. So far, so good. All right, one more thing we got to change is, of course, the status bar. Now I'm going to change this simply to a light, because it'll look better at the end. Awesome. All right, make sure you got all that down. Make sure you got everything in the scrollable down. And then on top of that, make sure you got everything up here as well. All right. But one thing I noticed before you save, though, actually, we have to get rid of this S, because remember, we called it note throughout this, not notes. So go ahead, do that. Awesome. All right, I'm going to save, Control S. All right, looking good so far. Make sure you got everything down. I will see you in the next video. All right, so in this video, we're going to go ahead and create that create a day scene for our fitness app. Let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Before we start, I noticed one thing we got to change. Right inside of our return that we currently made in the last video, we forgot to add that styles period in our view right over here. So let's go ahead and add that. Put styles with an S, dot, there we go, header container. Awesome, go ahead and save that, Control S. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and continue now. So we're going to be adding the next scene, and to do that, we're simply going to go ahead and add a different return based on an if statement, okay? So right above our current one, I'm going to go ahead, add some space. This time, I'm going to go ahead and do an if, parentheses, open, equals, 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 true. All right, if true, then we're going to go ahead, pass in some curly brackets, and then start to output a return. So let's go ahead and add that return. Go ahead, give it some empty parentheses, open it up. All right, so inside this return, we're going to add a couple things. We're first going to go ahead and add a view, close that, open it up. All right, so in this view, we're going to go ahead and give it a style. Let's go ahead and add that. So style, equal, curly brackets, styles with an S, dot, and let's go ahead and let's give this one a name of, again, the far back view, because that's going to be the far back view. Awesome. Then we're going to go ahead and add another view. Close it, open it up. Awesome. This one, again, we're going to go ahead and give it the header container. So we can actually go ahead, and I'm just going to go ahead and copy the current header container one we have right here that we made in the last one. Copy that. I'm going to go ahead and just paste that in, even over covering the view. Perfect. Just like that. Control S. Awesome. Looking good so far. All right. Let's go ahead and continue. So right below this view here in the middle, I'm going to go ahead and create another view. Let's go ahead, open that one up. All right. So in this view, we're going to go ahead and give it a style, equal, curly brackets, styles with an S, dot, and I'm going to go ahead and give this one the container one that we're going to make. Perfect. Awesome. Inside the container view, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add a couple things. First thing we're going to add is another view. Open that up. This specific view, we're not going to give it a style. We're actually just going to go ahead and jump right in and give it text. So I'm going to go ahead, do a text. Inside this text, I'm going to go ahead, and we are going to use the curly brackets for the value. Inside of there, we are going to do the get value. Awesome. Perfect. All right, in the opening tag right here, we are going to go ahead and give this one a style equal curly brackets, styles with an S. And then we're going to go ahead, do a dot, and I'm going to go ahead and just call this one calculated capital N number. Just like that. Awesome. All right, make sure you got that there. Now, right below this view here, still inside the container view, we're going to go ahead, add another view. Close it, open it up. All right. Actually, we're going to go ahead and get rid of that. We don't have to actually give this one a specific view. Instead, we're just going to jump right in and give it a text input. So let's go ahead and do a text input. Awesome. Open that up. All right. So actually, again, we will get rid of the closing tag. We can actually make it just one to save a little bit of space. So I'm going to do a slash. And then there we go. So now inside of this text input, I'm going to go ahead and give it a style first. Style equal curly brackets. Let's go ahead, give it styles with an S. Dot, and I'm going to give this one a name of input capital T text. Awesome. All right. Then we're going to go ahead, add something else in the opening tag. We're going to go ahead and give it a placeholder. We're going to set that placeholder to capital E, enter, today's calories. Awesome. All right. So far, so good. I'm going to go ahead, Control S to save that so it reformats. All right. So we're going to add another one in here as well. So below the placeholder, we're going to go ahead and do value, which will output the value of it. I'm going to go ahead, equal, curly brackets. Inside of here this time, I'm going to go ahead and set this just to calories. All right. Awesome. And that's, of course, passing from our use state that we created earlier. All right. Let's keep going. Right below that, we're going to go ahead and do on change text. There we go. Equal curly brackets. I'm going to go ahead and do the set calories because, of course, we want to set the calories when the text starts to change. All right. Awesome. All right. And the last thing we want to do, because we're only inserting numbers, we are going to want to change the keyboard to represent that. So we're going to do keyboard type. And then I'm going to go ahead and make this one the number dash pad. Okay. Just like that. Number pad. All right. Looking good so far. All right, let's go ahead and move on down. Still inside of the main container right here, but underneath the text input, we're going to go ahead and pass in another pressable. Close that, open it up. All right, in the opening tag of this pressable, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a style equal curly brackets. We're going to go ahead and do styles with an S dot, and I'm going to use that basic button one that we're going to continue to use for all our basic buttons. Awesome. And then, of course, we're going to give it an on press. We're going to go ahead, make that equal to submit values. Awesome. And then inside of this pressable, we're going to go ahead and give it a text. Inside this text tags, we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to say save calories. Awesome. And then inside that text opening tag, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to do a style equal curly brackets, styles with an S, dot, and I'm going to call this submit text. There we go. All right. Looking good so far. I like it. All right. Let's keep going. So once we do that, we're going to go ahead underneath the pressable. We're going to go ahead and add another view. Let's add that. All right. So this view, we're going to go ahead and give it a style equal curly brackets, styles with an S, dot, and I'm going to go ahead and we're going to call this the workout buttons container. It's going to have all the different workout buttons in here. Awesome. All right. Then we're going to go ahead inside of here, add a pressable. Close it, open it up. Inside the opening tag of that pressable, we're going to add a couple things. All right. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and add is going to be a style. And this is going to be a little different than what we've been doing because we want the style to change when the button's pressed. I'm going to go ahead and pass in some parentheses and then some curly brackets again. We're going to go SA and inside it pressed. All right. We want to ensure that something happens when the pressed is initiated. Then we're going to do an equal, less than. we're going to go ahead and we're going to go, instead of doing a parenthesis, we're going to go ahead and just add the pressed. Then we're going to go ahead, do a question mark. And then we're going to add a array of the styles. So styles dot, and I'm going to go ahead and call this workout button, or buttons with an S because we're going to have multiple, comma, styles, and I'm going to do dot pressed. Okay, so if the button's pressed, then we are going to go ahead and add these styles of the workout buttons, and we're also going to add the styles for pressed as well. So this is basically gives us the ability to add multiple. Now, of course, if it isn't pressed, then we're going to give it a colon right here, and we're going to set it to just the styles buttons. All right, so we're going to go ahead and grab that first one here, and we're going to go ahead and set that right there. Awesome, just like that. Perfect. Then the last thing, of course, we need to do is give it a function when pressed. So outside of that curly bracket, but inside the opening tag still, I'm going to go ahead and add the on press. And then for this one, I'm going to go ahead and pass in, this one's going to be for the add weight workout. Awesome. Let's go ahead and reformat it. Control S. Awesome. Slide it over. There we go. Now you can see it a little better. All right. So again, this style is specific on, of course, whether or not the button's being pressed. When it's being pressed, we're adding an extra style, which is going to be the pressed one. And then, of course, if it doesn't, then it's just going to stay as the regular workout buttons. Awesome. All right. So far, so good. All right. And then, of course, we're also going to go ahead and add the symbol inside of this pressable. So right here, we're going to add a view, closing tag. Inside of here, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to add an opening tag of ionicons. So we're going to do ion icons. There we go. Just like that. We're going to keep it as a closed one, so slash less than. All right. Then for this, I'm going to go ahead and do a name. And I'm going to go ahead and make this one equal to something called a walk dash outline. Awesome. Or actually, since this one's going to be the workout one, we should go ahead and change it to a different one. I'm going to go ahead and change it to, let's change it to the barbell one. So let's do the barbell. 2 L's? Yeah. Barbell dash and then outline. Awesome. All right. Looks correct to me. Perfect. Outside of that, but still inside the closing tag, we're also going to go ahead and give it a size. I'm going to give this one a size of 100. All right. And then we're also going to go ahead and we're going to give it a color. And I'm just going to set that to a, in quotes, of blue so it matches the rest of the app that we're going to make. Awesome. All right. Looking good so far. I like it. All right. Alrighty, so I think that's good for this one. Now, instead of retyping this all out a bunch of times, I'm just going to Control S to save it first. Then I'm actually going to go ahead and just copy this entire pressable we have here. All right, or yep, all the way up here. Is that, where is the opening tag? Oh, hold on, it's all the way here to here. There we go. Make sure you copy the right pressable. Control copy that, and then underneath it, still inside of that view for the workout buttons container. All right, make sure it's still inside that one. You can see that line. I'm going to paste this here. Awesome. All right, and the only thing we're going to change is just a couple things. The first thing we're going to do, of course, is change the function that's being used. Of course, it's not add weight workout anymore. This one is going to be for the other one, which if I recall, I think it was add run. There we go, add run workout. And then, of course, we're also going to go ahead and change the name of the ionicon that we have because it's not the barbell one this time. This one's going to be the other one, that walk dash outline. Just like that. Perfect. Awesome. All right, make sure you have that there. All right, now let's Control S to save that again. All right, looking good. Now let's go ahead and copy this entire view of the workout buttons container. Let's do that. So I'm going to control or scroll all the way down. Make sure you have the correct one copied. All right. I'm going to go ahead, copy this, Control C. We're just going to go ahead and paste it once here and then paste it another time here. So we should have 6 buttons by the end of this. Awesome. And again, the only things we're going to change is actually going to be the names. I'm going to leave all these workout functions the same, because remember, we only made 2. If you want to make more for each one, you're totally welcome to. But to save time, I'm just going to go ahead and have the button itself working and look the way I want it to look. Awesome. So let's scroll on up. So here we have the 2 that we already did. Now if we scroll down, we have these 2 next. Now for these ones, I want to go ahead and change what these look like. This one here is going to be for the golf one, so I'm going to change that name to the golf symbol. So I'm going to do golf dash, and then I think it's just outline again. There we go. Then we're also going to have the football one. So I'm going to go ahead, change this walk to football, just like that. Perfect. All right. Then let's get the next ones, which are the last 2. Scroll on down. Now we're going to be changing these other ones, or I think there we go. Yep. Football and golf outline. I think, is that correct? Football, golf outline, football. Golf outline, football. That's okay. And the next one is, American football. That's why I was getting confused. Scroll on down. All right. Let's go ahead and change this barbell one. This one is going to be the footsteps with an S at the end. Awesome. And then we can change this to American football for the last one. Awesome. So American dash football. Awesome. All right. Make sure you got that in there. Perfect. All right. Let's go ahead and scroll on down. All right. Looking good. Now let's go ahead and add an enter after our pressable. So right over here, we're going to add something. Make sure it's still outside of the main container of the buttons we've been working on. All right. This time we're going to go ahead and we're going to add another pressable. So let's go ahead and do that. Pressable. Open that up. All right. In this pressable, let's go ahead and give it a new style in the opening tag. Equal, curly brackets, styles with an S, dot. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to name this again basic buttons. There we go. Awesome. We're going to go ahead and do an on press for this. This one's going to be the handle add task, because we are going to, after we fill out everything and what we want, we're going to have this button to add the actual task. Let's go ahead and give it some text as well. In here, I'm just going to say submit today's values. Awesome. In the opening tag, I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to give it a style. Equal, curly brackets, styles with an S, dot, and I'm going to do submit text for this again, wherever that is. There we go. Submit text. Awesome. Looking good. All right. I like it. Now we're going to go ahead and do one more button. So again, right below that pressable, we're going to do another pressable. Close that, open it up. In the opening tag, we're going to go ahead, give it again a style, equal, curly brackets, styles with an S, dot. This one again is going to be basic buttons. Then outside of that, we're also going to go ahead, give it an on press. And in these curly brackets, this time this one's going to be the close show data input. So if we want to cancel it, then we can do this button. I'm going to go ahead, add some text. All right. So in here, we're going to go ahead and I'm simply just going to put the word close in the opening tag for it. I'm going to go ahead, give it a style, equal, curly brackets, styles with an S, dot. And again, I'm just going to do the submit button for this, or submit text. There we go. Perfect. All right, looking good. Control S. All right, I know that was a lot. Make sure you got it all down. Pause the video if you have to write the code. All right, so far so good. I will see you in the next video. All right, so in this video, we're going to go ahead and create the style for our fitness app. Let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, make sure you are connected to your Android app, just like I am right here. Perfect. All right, before we get started, I noticed a couple errors. Simple little fixes though. If we go ahead up to our first return that we created, we forgot to add a styles period to it. So I'm going to go ahead, copy this one here, paste it to this header text one that we have. All right. We have two more spots as well that we didn't add that dot styles. So let's go ahead and scroll down. we forgot to add one on the other return as well for the header right here. So go ahead, make sure that's there. You're going to get an error. And then the last one was on this opening tag of the scroll view. So make sure that's there as well. Control S. And then that error should go away and your app shouldn't say anything bad. Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the style now so we could actually view some of the components of this app we just created. Let's scroll on down. All right, so currently we have a container one, but we're actually going to go ahead and add one for a further top one because we have another one above that. This one here is going to be for the far back view. Colon, open that up with some curly brackets, add a comma there. All right, so right here we're going to go ahead and simply put a background color. And I'm going to go ahead and make this background color simply a blue. Awesome. Make sure you got that there. All right. So below our container, though, we're going to go ahead and add a couple things. But before we do that, actually, let's go ahead and redo. So we don't want flex for this main container, okay? So instead of that, we're actually going to go ahead and add some padding top. Let's go ahead and find that padding top. And I'm going to set that padding top to 5. Awesome. All right. Let's keep going, though. Below that, we have our container, of course. This one here is going to be for the header text. Let's go ahead, create some style for that. In here for the header text, I'm going to give it a font size. And then I'm going to make mine about 25, comma. Underneath that, I'm going to go ahead and do a margin of 5, comma. I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to give it a color of white. Awesome. I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to give it a background color. And I'm going to make that background color a blue to match the rest of the app. Awesome. Make sure it's spelled correctly. Control S to reformat. Awesome. All right, below that background color, though, I'm also going to go ahead and give it a font weight. And I'm going to make that font weight bold. Awesome. Let's keep going. Below that header text, we're also going to be adding that basic buttons one. Let's go ahead and create that. All right, a couple things we're going to add in the basic buttons one. I'm going to go ahead first and give it a width of 70%. And to do that, you also need to put that in quotes to add a percentage, just like that. Awesome. Below that 70% width, we're going to go ahead and give it a background color. I'm going to make this also a blue, just like that. Then below that, we're going to go ahead and we're also going to go ahead and give it a border radius. And I'm going to go ahead and set that border radius to a 10, comma. Awesome. Then below that, I'm also going to go ahead and give it some padding. And I'm going to set that padding to about a 5, comma. Awesome. Then I'm going to go ahead and give it a margin as well. And I'm going to set that margin to about a 10. Awesome. All right, make sure you got that down. Control S to save that. Let's see how the app's looking so far. A little better. Now we got this header up here. It just doesn't seem to be up as much as I would want it to be, but we'll get that over time. Awesome. All right, let's keep going. All right, let's do the next one. So now we're going to go ahead and do the submit text. So let's keep going. Do the submit text. Semicolon, open it up. All right, in the submit text, I'm going to go ahead and do a text align. And I'm going to make that text align of a center, comma. Then we're also going to go ahead. We're going to do a font size. And I'm going to make that font size. We should make it about a 25, comma. And then we should also go ahead, give it a color. And I'm going to give it a color of white. I'm also going to go ahead and give it a font weight. And I'm going to give that a bold look. Awesome. Looking good. Comma. Let's go ahead and keep going. All right. Let's add some more. So we already did the submit text. And we're going to go on to the header container. Comma, or colon. Open that up with some curly brackets. All right. So in the header container, I'm just going to give it a lot of padding, specifically padding top. All right, just like that, colon. And I think we're going to need a lot, so I'm going to do 40, comma. I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to give it a width. And I'm going to set that width to 100%. Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and save that, Control S. See how our app's looking so far. There we go, a little better. I like it. Awesome. Make sure you got all that down. I know that was a lot. All right, let's keep going. So now that we have that, we're going to go ahead and move on down to the scroll view style. So let's go ahead and do that. There it is. Colon, open up some curly brackets. All right, so inside of this one, we're going to go ahead and I'm just simply going to do a width of 100%. Remember to put it inside quotes, comma on the outside. All right, next one we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and give it a margin top. And I'm going to go ahead and set that margin top to something like a 5. Awesome. All right, let's keep going. Now that we have the margin view style, we're going to go ahead and do the data value. So let's go ahead, data value, colon. There we go. So inside of this data value, I'm going to give it a margin of 20, comma. Then we're also going to go ahead and we're going to give it a border color. I'm going to set that border color to a blue, comma. We're also going to go ahead and we're going to give it a border width. And I'm going to set that to probably about a 5, comma. Then we're going to keep going. We're also going to go ahead and do a border radius. I'm going to set that border radius to about a 10 as well. Just give it a nice curved look. All right. After the border radius, we're going to go ahead and give it some padding, and I'm simply just going to give it a 5 for padding. Awesome. All right, looking good. Make sure you got that down. All right, let's go ahead and continue. Now we're going to go ahead and do some of the text inside of it. So we're going to do this one for the final cal text. Open that up. All right, so inside of here, we're going to add a couple things. First one we're going to go ahead and add is going to be a margin of 10, comma, not 20, 10. There we go. Then we're also going to go ahead. We're going to give it a text align of center. Comma. We're going to keep going. I'm going to give it a font size. Oop, not family, font size. Let's try 25. I think that'll look good. Let's also go ahead and let's do a font weight. And I'm going to set this as well to bold, comma. Let's keep going. And then the last one I'm going to do is just the color. I'm going to go ahead and set that to white. Awesome. All right. Now let's go ahead and do the date text, comma, date text. Open that up. All right. Inside of there, we're going to go ahead and do a text align center. There we go, comma. Right underneath that one, we're also going to go ahead and give it a color. And I have this nice gray color that I'm going to use. I'm going to go ahead and copy it and paste it in there. You can use it as well, or just the word gray. It's up to you. I just think this one looks a little lighter, which looks a little better. Let's keep going. Now that we have the color, let's go ahead and add the font size. It's going to be a little smaller than the last one. I'm going to go ahead and make this font size an 18, comma. And then the last thing is going to be the font weight. And I'm going to make it bold, which will make it look a little nicer. Awesome. All right, so far so good. Let's go ahead and do the last text for this one. This is going to be the cal text. Open that up. Inside of here, we're going to add a couple things. First thing we're going to add, of course, is that text align. We're going to make it center. Next thing we're going to do is going to be the font size, and I'm going to make this one a little bigger. So I'm going to make it 25, comma. And then we're going to do the font weight, and we're also going to go ahead and make that bold as well. Awesome. All right. So far, so good. Comma. All right, let's go ahead and keep going. Make sure you got all that down. I know that was a lot. And remember, you can style this as much as you want or as little as you want. It's completely up to you. I just think the current ones I have now look pretty good to me, which makes everything look pretty good overall. Let's keep going though. So we have only a couple more. All right, let's go ahead and add one for the calculated number. Open it up. All right, inside the calculated number, let's go ahead and give it a font size. And I'm going to make this 50, comma. We're also going to go ahead and we're going to give it a color. I'm going to make it just black, comma, and then just give it a simple font weight. And I'm going to make that font weight bold. Oh, not 900. There we go. Awesome. Let's keep going. Add a comma there. All right, for the next one. This one here is going to be for the input text. It's going to have a couple different ones in here. We're going to, of course, give it a font size. I'm going to go ahead and give it a font size of 29. We're also going to go ahead and we're going to give it a background color. And I'm going to set the background color to another lighter gray that I have that I like. I'm going to go ahead and copy it and then paste it in here so you can see. There we go. Perfect. Just a little nicer look, I think. Then we're also going to give this some padding. And I'm going to make the padding about a 5. And then I'm also going to go ahead and give it a border width. I'm going to make that border width something like 2. And then I'm going to go ahead and give it a border color. And I'm going to make that border color just a regular black. Awesome. All right, make sure you got that there. Perfect. All right, a couple more and then we're done. Comma. We're also going to go ahead and do the workout button container. Let's go ahead, open that up. All right, inside the workout button container, I'm simply just going to do a flex direction. Ooh, not flex spaces. Flex direction. And I want to set that to a row. All right, awesome. Just so we can get all those buttons side by side instead of up and down. All right, let's go ahead and do another one. Don't forget to put the comma. This one's going to be for the workout buttons. All right, let's go ahead, open that up. All right, a couple things we're going to add in the workout buttons one. First one we're going to do is the background color. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make that, again, a nice looking gray color. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it in some quotes. You can copy it if you want, or just use the word gray. That's up to you. I think this one looks better. All right, then I'm going to use the align content for this one. Remember, we have that logo in there. I want to go ahead and add the center for that. Awesome. All right, next thing I'm going to do is a justify content. This is also just going to help center it up. Then we're also going to go ahead and we're going to do align items, which is going to help align the inner items, again, for those logos. I'm going to do center, some, comma. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to do border radius to give it a nice curved look. I'm going to go ahead and just give it a 10. We're also going to go ahead and give it some padding. I'm going to give mine an 8. We're also going to go ahead and give it a margin of 8 as well, comma. And then we're going to go ahead and give it some margin horizontal, which will separate the buttons, making it a little spaced out, which I like. I'm going to give that a 25, comma. Awesome, looking good. Make sure you got that down. All right, last one we're going to do. This is going to be for that pressed of the button, if you remember. So pressed. We're going to go ahead, open that up. I'm going to go ahead and do background color. And I'm simply going to change the background color to the regular gray. Awesome. Perfect. All right, make sure you got all those down. I know that was a lot. I'll slowly scroll through all of them. So we got these currently. If I scroll up, we have a couple more. If I scroll up, a couple more. Again, a couple more. And there you go. Awesome. Make sure you save. Alrighty, so that's it for this video. I will see you in the next one. Alright, so in this video, we're going to go ahead and review the app we've created. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright, make sure you are connected to your Android device. Before we start the review, I noticed a couple little bugs that we need to change for the app to work properly. So, the first thing that I noticed is we forgot one of the styling points. So let's go ahead and add that real quick right over here. This one is going to be for the final calc view. All right, go ahead, open that up. Inside the final calc view, I just want to go ahead and set flex to 1, comma. I also want to go ahead and set the justify content to center, comma. I also want to go ahead and do align items. I want to go ahead and set that to center as well, comma. I also want to go ahead and I will set the background color to blue. Don't forget to put in quotes. Awesome. I also want to go ahead and I want to set a border radius. And I'm going to set that to 10. And then last but not least, I'm going to set a margin to 4. Awesome. Make sure you got that in there. Save that. All right, copy the name of the final calc view. All right, we're going to go ahead and scroll on up over here to our second return. And we need to change this final calc value right here because that was supposed to be the view one. So go ahead, paste that in there. Make sure it has that dot period as well. Awesome. We also have to change this style up here in the pressable. If you remember, we made this. We forgot to put that dot or the styles dot there. Perfect. All right. Make sure to save that. And one more thing I noticed, if you scroll on up over here, back to our functions, keep on going. Should be this not parse float, the to local string, we have to add an E right there. Okay, make sure you got that E right there, or this is going to throw an error for the date. Awesome. All right, go ahead, save that, Control S. All right, open up your app. Might give you an alert. Go ahead and just close it just to reset everything. Awesome, so far so good. So currently you shouldn't have a value right here. That was just from testing, but here's our app. We can go ahead, go into the add new day. We can go ahead and set some values. I'm going to do something like maybe 3,000 for the calories. Save those calories. Maybe I did some weight workouts and I went for a run/walk and it will minus out the calories. I'm going to close the keyboard, submit those values, and there we go. There's our output. Now we also have that local saving capability. So if I go ahead, close the app, reopen it, we still have the value. And if you remember, we also can go ahead. That's just on the Expo. Go ahead and exit that. You can tap this to remove it. Alrighty, all set. Congratulations on completing the app. That's it for this video. I will see you in the next one. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this video and serious about becoming a developer, you should totally consider joining Red Fool's Academy. Once you sign up, you will get full access to all of our premium courses, support from myself and the Red Fool Studio team. Our courses include full stack website development, app development, game development, and many more to come. On your first sign up, you get a free 7 days to try it all out. A link will be added to the description, or you can go to the official website at redfoolstudio.com. See you in the lectures!